Hi everyone, I hope you people are doing great. I am here with a very much requested video which is about assertions of substantive procedures, the assertions that we have to have in our substantive procedures. I'll be briefing you about all of those so that you understand the assertions really well, because what happens is whenever we are writing substantive procedures, we either sometimes do not write it at all, or we write the wrong assertions in a particular substantive procedure, due to which our answer becomes wrong and we're not able to fetch marks, right? So I will be explaining them, the assertions aspect as well, and I will also be explaining you the verbs aspect also, which is related to your substantive procedures. Verbs like recalculate, reperform, test, all of those verbs as well, so that again you know the starting bit of the substantive procedures, you know the ending bit also of the substantive procedures, right? So if you are somebody, I'll just quickly, first of all, I would like to actually brief you people about substantive procedures as well, little bit. We do the assertions aspect. See, whenever we are talking about substantive procedures, I always tell my students that your substantive procedures has to be as per the case. If it is not specific to the case, if it is all general, all rote learned, it won't fetch you full marks, and it can also lead to paper nullification, right? So that is one aspect which you have to completely forget, which is rote learning substantive procedures, right? Second aspect is sometimes I see students writing incomplete substantive procedures, meaning they do not write assertion. So, for example, if I take any of these examples, you will write, if I talk about this one. Sales invoices are accurately recorded without errors in the amounts of or calculation. So basically, when you write that we are doing this through this, so for example, we are discussing with the management why there was a change from straight line method to WDB method. Okay, so now we are discussing it with the management, but why are we doing so? To assess the reasonableness of the change made, right? So you're assessing the reasonableness. That is the reason why are you doing a substantive procedure. So that is the reason, if you do not write the to assess the reasonableness, it becomes incomplete and you won't be able to get marks for that, right? So that is the reason I came here to explain you all the assertions, like major common assertions that we usually test in the paper, and the verbs as well. So I hope that this video will be helpful for you, and please watch till the end, so that you understand every bit of it. Okay, now let's start with the main aspect. So basically, I have bifurcated your assertions classes, types of assertions, into three categories. Okay, and then we'll be going by category so that we understand them really well, and we are able to also write in your answers. If you can, guys, please take a pen and paper as well, so that whatever I am explaining you, you are able to write it down for yourself as well, so that it's easier for you to revise when the paper is really very near. Okay, so first of all is the first type of assertions for the class that we're going to study is transactions and events. So transactions, like if there's any sales happening, if you have done any purchases, that means any expense you have done, if you have taken any loan, anything, any transaction that is happening, okay, which is related to the sales side in the PNL, or the purchases expenses side, whatever. Okay, and the events. So we are right now concerned about only the transactions and the type of events that can happen in the company. Okay, now the first assertion is occurrence. Occurrence का मतलब होता है कुछ चीज हुई है, something has happened. Okay, so when you say that the company made a sales to this person for example, rupees 100 rupees. Okay, so now you need to check whether this 100 rupees actually happened or no, राइट ऐसा तो नहीं है कि फिक्टिशियस है, दे फिक्टिशियस बोला है कि 100 रुपए की सेल्स हुई, बट एक्चुअली में नहीं हुई थी. So that is when we use the term or the assertion of occurrence, that did it actually happen or no. Okay, so ensures that recorded transactions and events have actually occurred and they also pertain to the entity, right? So as I mentioned, यहाँ पे sales या purchases. So for example, the company says that we have done an advertisement expenditure for the company. Now you need to see that whether that expenditure actually happened or no. So when you're testing that, in that case scenario, आपकी assertion होगी occurrence. Okay. So if I read the example over here, sales recorded in the books actually represents goods delivered and services rendered. So basically, जैसे मैंने आपको भी बताया कि if sales happen, तो of course you will be having the evidences for the same. That is when you're checking the occurrence of the particular transaction. Okay. Then is the completeness assertion, which is very evident from the word itself, completeness. Now, completeness basically means that, for example, I in a particular year made, for example, 10 sales. So basically there were 10 customers, right? So 100 rupees, 100 rupees. So let's take three right now for easy calculation. We made three, we had three customers जिनको हमने 100 रुपए की सेल करी थी throughout the month. Okay. कंप्लीटनेस का क्या मतलब है दैट ऑल ऑफ दीज थ्री ट्रांजैक्शंस को मैंने करेक्टली नंबर फॉर्म में रिकॉग्नाइज करा है. मतलब मैंने अपनी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में आई हैव सेड दैट यस देयर वर थ्री सेल्स मेड, थ्री customers basically happened. So 3 बार मैंने सेल्स करी थी एंड दिस इज द देयर. आई एम नॉट कंसर्न्ड इफ अगर सेल्स 100 की हुई है, क्या मैंने बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट में 80 रिकॉग्नाइज किया, क्या मैंने 80 करा या मैंने 70 करा. आई एम जस्ट concerned about the number of transactions when we talk about completeness. Okay, when I say that goods dispatched notes are 10, so I'm just concerned about the number, the quantity 10. I'm not concerned about the value of the goods dispatched note when we are testing the completeness assertion. Okay, so if I read the definition, ensures that all transactions and events that should have been recorded have been recorded. तो अगर मेरे को 3 सेल्स स्क्रिप्ट्स रिकॉग्नाइज करनी थी या 10 जीडीएंस रिकॉग्नाइज करने थे तो वो मैंने करे हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि 10 में से 8 ही करे हैं, 2 नहीं करे हैं. सो दैट विल बी अ प्रॉब्लम, राइट? Example is all purchases made during the period are recorded in the accounts. For example, purchases आपने 2-3 टाइप्स की करी. आपने एडवर्टाइजमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर करा, आपने रेंट दिया, आपने वेजेस दिया, आपने सैलरीज दिया. तो ये 4 आपके एक्सपेंसेस हुए. सो completeness assertion will test that all these 4 transactions have been recorded irrespective of the amount. ओके, नाउ अमाउंट के लिए इफ आई नीड टू चेक कि मैंने रेंट अगर 1,000 रुपए है, 1,000 ही दिया है. इफ माई फॉर एग्जाम्पल वेजेस इज 10,000 rupees, I have paid 10,000 only. That is accuracy assertion. So accuracy test कि आपने the value of the goods, the value of the transactions, the value of the events that has happened is actually correct. So basically when I talked about here कि मेरा revenue 100 एक्चुअल में हुआ है, in my books of accounts also I have recognized it as 100 only and not 80. Okay, so ensures that amounts and other data related to the recorded transactions have been accurately recorded. So sales invoices are accurately recorded without errors in the amounts of the calculation. So as I mentioned, the amounts should be correct. So these two run in parallel. Okay, completeness is only for the quantification कि आपकी क्वांटिटी सही है. अगर 4 ट्रांजैक्शन हुई है, आपने 4 ही रिकॉग्नाइज करी है. whereas accuracy is about the valuation कि आपने सही अमाउंट्स रिकॉग्नाइज करे हैं in the financial statements. I hope it is clear now. Next assertion is cutoff. Cutoff basically means that, for example, let's take an example. There were 2 years, 2004 and 2005. Okay. Now, some transactions, my year end was 31st March, for example, and the year starting would be 1st of April, right? So if some transactions happened on 31st March, so it pertains to the first year, right? There can be a situation in the company wherein this amount is not recognized in 2004, rather it has been recognized in 2005. So actual में what will happen? For example, there was a revenue जो 1,000 rupees का हुआ. Actual में इस year में हमको we need to recognize it, but we by mistake or by fraud we recognize this revenue in the next year because of the financial issue, because 31st March को it ended and the 1st April को the next year started, right? So in that case scenario, there can be a scene that, you know, our revenue for particular this current year is undervalued. Why? Because ये 1,000 तो 2004 में आना चाहिए था, but हमने 2005 में recognize किया. That is the issue. So that is cutoff. So cutoff is basically related to your accounting period. That a certain transaction might not be recognized in the correct accounting period. Okay. So ensures that transactions and events are recorded in the correct accounting period. Example, revenue is recognized in the period when the goods were delivered, not when the cash was received. So this is basically related to your IFRS 15 if you are aware of that as well. Okay. Now, classification. This is again very, very important, and this is a very, very commonly tested, I would say, assertion. If I give you an example, in many of the case scenarios, you are given that the company is taking a bank loan. Okay. Now, bank loan, for example, let me give you an example. Okay. So, for example, they say that the bank loan that we have taken is for rupees 1,000. Okay. I'm taking really very small figures so that you understand really nicely. Okay. So, for example, they say that we have taken 1,000 rupees loan and this will be paid in 3 years. Okay. This will be paid in 3 years. Now, some amount of this particular amount, for example, 300 rupees will be paid in the current year because 3 years में से first year is current year, second year and the third year, right? So 2004, 2005 is the next year, 2006 is the next year. And then similarly, 300 and 300, do the maths, right? So if I am recognized, so now technically what should happen that this 300 out of this 1,000 should be recognized as a current liability. Current liability, why? Because this is we have to pay in the current year, in 1 year gap, right? And then the next 600, 700 rupees, whatever is left, has to be recognized as a non-current liability, right? So if there is a risk that I might not recognize, might not classify correctly between current liabilities and the non-current liabilities, due to which, because again, this won't lead to any material impact, like amount to utna hi rahega, right? But the problem is, if I, as a stakeholder, I'm looking at the financial statements, I see that this company has a lot of current liability. Oh my God, in the case that the company has recognized full 1,000 the current year. And I'll be like, no, I don't want to invest because they have a lot of current liabilities in this particular year. Or if it is vice versa, I see that, okay, long term, they have a lot of liabilities, whereas that is not the case scenario. उनके पास 1,000 rupees का liability अभी नहीं है for current year. They have 300 rupees only as a liability. So classification is the error that we do not recognize it under the proper accounts, current liability and the non-current liability. Right. Similarly, if you read the example over here as well, a machinery purchase is classified under fixed assets, not expenses. So again, machinery ko you cannot recognize under your expenses. It is not an expense. It is an asset. Similarly, I see a lot of examples for advertisement expenditures as well, right? That advertisement expenditure, the company has recognized it as an asset, जबकि वो expense out होना चाहिए. So that is a classification error, okay? Because technically it should be an expense, but they have recognized it as a asset, okay? I hope till now we are clear with these 5 small assertions. These are very, very important, guys. Please understand them really very carefully. I have broken down them into very, very small examples so that you understand really carefully. Okay. Next is account balances. So basically, account balances relate to your assets, the items of your balance sheet. I say assets, liabilities, equities, all of those things. 3 things that we have in a balance sheet: assets, liabilities, and the equity. Okay. Now we'll be just talking about assertions relating to them. Okay. The first one is existence. So existence basically means that, if I say that I have a land at this particular place, for example, so does that asset actually exist or no? या मेरी financial statements में fictitious है. हो सकता है ना, there can be a possibility that in my financial statements, because I want to show my financial statements really very good, so I say that I have a land of rupees 1,000 rupees, but whereas in actual terms, if I go to that particular place, for example in Delhi, that is not there. It is not there. It is, or if it is there, it is not in the name of the company. That is a existence problem, right? So existence का मतलब ये है, if I am saying that this asset, this liability exist in my financial statements, अगर ये है, तो in actual terms also it should be there in the tangible form or the intangible form, whatever. Okay. So example, inventory listed in the financial statements is physically present. Similarly, if you say that, for example, I have 1,000 rupees inventory in my stock as per my financial statements. So actually, when I go to your warehouse, that 1,000 rupees value inventory, or for example, 10 quantity value inventory has to be there in your warehouse. That ways I'm checking the existence, that okay, financial statements में ये बोला था, हमारे में ये है, actual, if I go to the place, physically go to that place, that is there, then I'm solving the assertion of existence. Okay. Then I have rights and obligation. So rights and obligation is basically related to your ownership, right? So अगर आपने बोला that I have this patent, I have this trademark, the company has this patent, trademark, okay, or has some ownership of a building that they have purchased. So rights and obligation is when I check that whether actually the particular building or the particular asset or the particular patent trademark is actually in the name of the company only by checking the supporting documentations, right? If I'm able to verify that, that means I am solving the problem of rights and obligations. Because again, the same problem can happen that हो सकता है वो बिल्डिंग वहां पे एग्जिस्ट करती हो, सो यू कैन क्रॉस वेरीफाई द एग्जिस्टेंस, बट हो सकता है that building is not in the name of the company, due to which our rights and obligations assertion will not be satisfied, right? So the company has legal ownership of the buildings listed as assets. So if you have listed as the assets, you should also have the ownership rights of that particular building or the asset that you have, right? So that is your rights and obligations assertion. Then you have completeness, as we mentioned above as well. Completeness is basically related to your, if for example I say that I have 4 assets, those 4 assets I have recognized in my financial statements and are existing as well. So that is completeness. Valuation and allocation, again, this is an area I think which most of the students lag. So when valuation basically means that ensures that assets, basically the items of the financial or the balance sheet, are valued appropriately. Again, this is similar to accuracy valuation in terms of the amounts. Okay. Accounts receivables are reported net of an allowances for the doubtful debt. So you know this concept that if we have receivables, for example, 1,000 rupees के receivables हैं, and there are some allowances, we have to net it off and show the final figure. Similarly with discounts as well. So you have to show gross and net के बीच में there is a difference. Gross includes all of the discounts, returns, etc. But when you go to the net, it is net of the discounts, for example, any returns that you have, right? So valuation is when I'm valuing my inventory or my any asset or my liability net of everything. So for example, if I take an asset, building लिया मैंने, उसमें से depreciation when I subtract, that is my net amount that should be correctly valued. Okay, that is valuation assertion. Now coming to the third topic, which is your presentation and disclosures. So presentation disclosure तो आपको पता ही होगा that we have as per IFRS is the normal standards. Then we can have as per the local legislation as well. So those majorly those 2 things that we recognize over here. Occurrence and rights and obligations, again that disclosed events जो हमने disclose करे हैं या हमने present करे हैं in our financial statements have actually occurred. So ensure that disclosed events, transactions, and other matters have occurred and relate to the entity. So if I'm saying that disclosures of the lease commitments pertain to the company and are valid. So if I am giving you a disclosure that I have these leases or I have this liability or something on those lines, I have made these provisions that should actually occur in the company as well. Okay. Then completeness, you people know already now. Classification, again, I've classified between as I said, the long-term debts, the current and non-current liabilities. So I will be making a disclosure as well for that, right? That they are as per the local legislation. So again, that is the classification thing. Accuracy and valuation about the fair value of the particular item. That is again, which is related to your accuracy and valuation. So with this, I am done with the assertions explanation. I hope that you people are now little bit more confident with these assertions, okay? Because these are really very important, and till the time that you do not know the meaning of these assertions, you won't be able to write your substantive procedure. So rather than learning, understand these assertions, right? I've used really simple examples. I hope it is clear to you. Now let's move forward with the next topic, which is verbs that are related to your substantive procedures. The verbs that you use: discuss, recalculate, reperform, inspect, observe, all of these, right? So sometimes what happens is I have seen students and that they are writing substantive procedures and all of the verbs are discuss. No, guys, you cannot do like that. And sometimes I have seen that they are using the wrong verbs. जहां पे ऑब्जर्व होना चाहिए वहां पे इंस्पेक्ट लिख रहे हैं, जहां पे रिकैलकुलेशन होनी चाहिए वहां पे रीपरफॉर्म कर रहे हैं. So you need to understand these verbs really well to be able to write them in your answers, right? So let's start. First of all is inspection. Okay, so I'll give you a quick example as well for this one. When you were in school or colleges, your on a quarterly basis or on a monthly basis, your principal used to come and inspect the classroom. She used to sit at the end and she used to inspect, is everything going right, is not. Or she used to also see your copies, she used to see the teachers notebooks and whatever is going on in the class. So with a questionable eye, she used to sit at your last desk and inspect the students, inspect your notebooks as well, ki kitna syllabus kar liya hai, what is happening in the classroom. Or if not principal, a third party used to come for the inspection and see if the school is running really well, if the administration is fine, if there's cleanliness. So again, they are checking various aspects of it, right? So when I'm scrutinizing various aspects of my supporting documentation or anything which is happening, then that is inspection. When I'm examining the records, documents, tangible assets, whatever. Okay. So if I go to the example, inspection of the invoices to see if the occurrence of the recorded sales, physical inventory. So I'm inspecting it, right? With a scrutinizing mind, that is it right, is it not, all of those things, right? So I'll be checking the documents as well. I will be like the principal. Okay, the principal just on a quarterly basis, she used to sit in your class and go through your copies, etc. So that is inspection. Okay, she used to also call some of the notebooks in our classroom, so the teacher used to send the best copies into her own desk. So that is again inspection with a scrutinizing mind. Now what is the major difference between these two? Observation is when on a daily basis the principal just used to roam around observing. She's not doing anything. She's not talking to the teacher. She's not talking to the students. She's not taking your copies. She's just observing. She's just roaming around and she's just observing. That is observation. Where you're just seeing that, अच्छा ये सही हो रहा है, अच्छा ये सही हो रहा है, ये कैसे हो रहा है? How is this happening? How are this taken care of? So you're just observing. You're just a silent observer. You're not actually doing anything. Okay. जैसे कि if we talk about in the auditor concept. So sometimes the auditor actually roams around. For example, there's an inventory count happening in the warehouse. Okay, the auditor won't do anything. He'll just roam around and see how is the process going around. What is the process being followed, right? So that is involves a watching a process. You're just watching, you're just observing, you're not doing anything else, you're just watching. Okay, that is the major difference between observation and inspection. Inspection में आप कर रहे हो, आप scrutinize भी कर रहे हो documents को, but observation is just observing, just watching. Okay, that is the difference between these two. Then recalculation, as you already know, that if they say कि हमारे पास we have a receivable balance of rupees 1,000, so again you are calculating 100 plus 100 plus 100 plus 100, all of these things to get the total of 1,000. So your recalculation, whatever the company has already calculated, you are recalculating the figures again to check if it is accurate or no, arithmetical accuracy or something on those lines, right? So that is again independent calculation you're doing, but the auditor is on its own also checking. For example, when you people send me your copies, right, and you have made some calculations, I recalculate कि आपका amount सही आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है. So similarly, right, recalculate the depreciation expense, recalculate the total of the payroll expenses, same thing. Okay, then we have confirmation. So confirmation is obtaining the evidence directly from a third party. So confirmation होता है, अब मैं management से तो confirmation नहीं लूंगी, management ने मेरे को, मैं management से discuss कर सकती हूँ, I can discuss with the management because they're themselves preparing the financial statements. Confirmations can be taken from a third party. For example, I have taken a bank loan, so I can go to the bank, I can talk to the manager, I can talk that this company has taken this much amount of loan, what is the covenants, what is the interest percentage, what is the principal amount, etc. Or if there is some receivables, for example, I can talk to the third party again, talk to them कि आप कब तक दोगे. Or if there's payables, I can talk to the supplier. So third party basically, which is not management. Okay, so this involves obtaining evidence directly from a third party, confirm accounts receivable balance with customers to verify existence. So you are, if for example the company is saying I have a receivable balance of 1,000 rupees from the customers, but हो सकता है because this is a asset, this is something which is positive for the company, right? हो सकता है this does not actually exist. So how are you confirming that this exists? Is through customers. You're going to the customers, आप उनसे पूछते हो कि is this really the amount that is spending from your end that you have to pay to the company? And the customer says yes, then it is confirmed, right? So confirmation is always taken from a third party rather than just for example, again school example. So you say that I am sick, you tell to your class teacher that I'm sick. So how is she going to confirm that are you actually sick or not? She's going to call your parents. आपसे तो नहीं पूछेगी क्योंकि आप ही ने बोला है. So she is going to go to the third party who is your parents, and she'll ask them, is the child really sick? So that is confirmation, double confirmation basically, right? So this is confirmation. Then reperform. So basically reperform is, you cannot reperform calculations as such. ओके, कैलकुलेशंस या फिर अगर रेशोज है कोई, अगर आपने रिसीवेबल्स पेबल्स का अमाउंट है, एक्सपेंसेस है, यू कैन नॉट रीपरफॉर्म. रीपरफॉर्म का मतलब होता है सम प्रोसीजर्स हैव टू बी रीपरफॉर्म्ड. You do not perform, you reperform procedures which are actually happening. कि अगर उन्होंने कोई प्रोसीजर करा है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल एजिंग करी है, दैट इज अ प्रोसीजर ऑफ द रिसीवेबल अकाउंट बैलेंस, राइट? सो you reperform कि is this aging that they have done is correct or no, is the procedure correct or no. So when you have to talk about amounts, figures, then you do a recalculation. But when you have to see procedures, then you reperform the procedure. So that is a difference between reperform and recalculate. Okay. Okay. Then, okay. Compare. So again, very, very easy. You compare two different, documents, if I say so. So it involves examining similarities or differences between different sets of data. So you compare, supposedly the very common and the famous substandard procedure that we have, compare the previous year's figures with the current year's figures to identify any differences. So you're comparing the पिछले साल का figure and now and seeing any differences. So you're comparing two different things. You can either get similarities or you can get differences for the same. Analyze. Now, analyze is basically when you are understanding or you are studying the relationship, or you're studying the data which is being given to you. So you're analyzing that, is it right, is it correct, is it not, right? So analyzing the revenue trends, ki kaisa ho raha hai, what is the analysis, you are understanding and scrutinizing it, right? That is when we do analysis of the revenue trends, ya fir reasonableness of the expense, right? Agreeing is basically involves matching data between two documents or records. So you're agreeing the data of supplier invoices to the purchases order to confirm the occurrence. Again, you're agreeing कि इसका और इसका match हो रहा है कि नहीं, because again, for every transaction that happens, there is always 3-4 supporting documentation that happens, right? कि एक आपका GDN होगा, एक supplier invoices होगी, etc. So you're agreeing कि if everything matches or no, right? Inquire is again questioning the management. यहाँ पे जो inquiry होगी, this can be with the management also. You can inquire from the management also. You can inquire from a third party also. Okay, it depends. It totally depends upon the situation, right? So you can inquire कि अगर वो बोल रहे हैं कि, as I gave the example previously, that they have changed their depreciation model from straight line to WDV. So in this case, you can inquire that why is this happening? Why are you doing this? What is the reason that you're doing this, right? So that is inquiry. Trace. Now, trace is again when you're tracing the data from one document or the record to the other. So you're tracing the inventory quantity. So again, I say that do not rarely use this word trace because it can mean different items as well. So this is not very commonly used in your substantive procedures, but you should know the meaning of it, right? Then, I'm sorry. Yeah, test. Test is basically, as the name also says, testing, basically examining the samples of the transactions of the balances. Testing a sample, जैसे मैंने बोला कि अगर transaction has happened for the authorization, that somebody has signed this, or for example, you are testing, so for example, you have the internal controls, right? They are saying that we have a CCTV camera. How are you going to ensure that this is working or no? You're testing it. Or basically, you are seeing the sample of the, for example, they say that we have signatories who check on the authorization. So basically, there was some payroll expenses which is authorized by a payroll supervisor. So how are you going to ensure that that process is happening? By testing the signatures probably, or taking a sample of the samples, taking a sample of the payroll expenses, right? Then review is just examining and assessing if it is right, if it is consistent, if it is reasonable or no, right? So you're just reviewing if the journal entries is fine, if the financial statements are fine, if they have the proper disclosure. So you're just reviewing it, right? Then counting is again majorly related to the physical counting that you do. So for example, if you're doing inventory valuation, so you're counting. If they say कि 10 boxes हमारे पास है inventory में, so you actually count कि 10 है कि नहीं है. Simple as that. This is majorly related more towards your inventory whenever you get inventory substantive procedures. Then you verify. So verify is again when you you actually see if it is truth or no. जैसे अगर उन्होंने बोला कि we have a loan agreement with, जैसे यहाँ पे I have written that terms of loan to ensure the proper classification. So you are verifying the terms of the loans, that whatever is happening, or the fixed assets. So you're just verifying it. And the last one, which I have not written over here, is discussion. Discuss with the management. So you're just discussing. If, for example, they change the method, so you can also discuss. So I am not saying कि एक scenario का, for example, I told that there was a change from your straight line method to WDV method in depreciation. So you can do a lot of things with it. You can discuss the reason why did they change the method from one to another. You can do that. Then what else can we do? We can also inquire from them with a questioning mind कि क्यों करा ये, what is the reason behind it, what is, maybe from a third party we inquire the same, right? Then we can also confirm that आपने बोला क्वेश्चन में कि we are going to do this, are you actually going to do this or no? Again, confirmation. So one situation you can use multiple verbs, but do not use wrong verbs. That is what I'm saying. You cannot you say recalculate the depreciation from the WDV and straight line. No, that does not make any sense, right? Until and unless you have given some amounts also in this. So I hope with this video you have little bit understood about the verbs as well as the assertions that we use in substantive procedures. Guys, this is really very important. So do let me know if this video was helpful for you. Also let me know if you want to see any such more videos. I'll be more than happy to make it for you.